Hello guys, I am back from another video. Today we're talking about deku was Typhon. So, in the last video deku, it's now finally the time of the final event of the sports festival, being the one-on-one battles. So, after Izuku faced off against Shinso and Todoroki, he was about to fight Bakugo, but they were interrupted by two different people. Two of them girls. One of them was, well, she basically told them that he was, or should I say she, was the reincarnation of Achilles, said to be a hero from Greece. And the other was Perseus. Apparently, he said that he was also a reincarnation of a famous hero as well. So, after a fight, Izuku revealed that he was the father of all monsters himself, Typhon, where Izuku just beats on them, killing them and ripping them apart. After Izuku does that, Izuku's power was diminished because after transforming into his full monstrous form, he has to take a nap. As in take a nap, more like a 3-day nap. So, after Izuku falls asleep, or just basically passes out, many people, specifically cameramen, started running away, and after that whole ordeal, they basically send, or at least show all these footage to the press, specifically to the news stations. Well, it's not really there yet until Izuku is basically, in the hospital. So, when all of the students and the teachers saw that, they basically come and go towards Izuku, but he was completely knocked out after using his power. So, that's basically where we ended off. So, let's talk about what happens next. So, Izuku is currently at the hospital, still pretty much knocked out, as several of the, news reporters started trying to get into his room to start talking to his guardian, being Aizawa. But most of the, staff in the, in the hospital don't want him to get into the actual, room because he's currently resting. But they also want to, just to ask what really is he. Aizawa is currently in Izuku's hospital room, watching him, as he gets a text from UA. So, when he gets the text from UA, she tells, wait for a second, Ochako to try and at least help Izuku out, because she was told by UA to talk to them, apparently about something important. So, after Aizawa leaves, Ochako is left with Izuku. She was confused and also shocked and also betrayed. They were supposed to be siblings, but after that whole thing, saying that he was the literal father of all monsters, she was, let's just say angry but also sad. She felt like she failed as being Izuku's sister. But she doesn't want to think of that right now. The only thing that she cares about now is basically just taking care of Izuku. So, we're going to move to Aizawa's perspective. So, let's begin the perspective then. So, when Aizawa made it there, Aizawa sees several UA staff members, including the top 10 heroes, including some high government officials and a weird looking priest, as they basically explain what really Izuku is, because he's definitely not human. And after his so-called speech being the so-called father of all father of all monsters, they want some answers. So they call upon a famous religious person, specifically from Greek's specific church or, you know, worshippers. Specifically, the priest that actually worships Typhon, which Ezekiel calls himself. Wait for a second. So, after that, well, Nezu says this. So, mind introducing yourself? As he says this. Oh my yes, it's nice to meet you all. I'm the head priest of the Church of Typhon. As Aizawa just says this. So, you're the church or the priest of the Church of Typhon, right? As he says this. Correct. So, this child, Izuku, he calls himself, after seeing his power in full display, I can definitely tell that he's actually the son, or at least the reincarnation of the famous god himself. As one of them said this. So, if he is a god, then why does he call himself the father of all monsters? Like, it seems more villainous than anything else. As he explains, well, it doesn't mean that all monsters are scary and evil. Just look at wait for a second. The hobbits, basically. Hobbits refers to a type of goblin, which are technically fae. And yes, goblins are technically fairies. Even their translation literally means like ugly fairy. Anyway, apparently they actually help humans. Even in fact pretend to be humans so they can act as like cleaners. But they sometimes get mad if they were given clothes as a sign of an insult. If they do get clothes, it's considered an insult in their, culture and basically go out and ravage the place before they basically leave. As one of them said this, so basically they're, well, tiny maids, says Mount Lady. As he says this. Correct, I guess. Anyway, there's also other examples, like for example, the nymphs and fairies. Even elves are technically, you know, technically family towards Ezekiel being the father of all monsters. As he says this, specifically All Might. So, if he is the reincarnation or the son or whatever of this Typhon person, then what does he want? As he says this. Well, in legend, Typhon, well, he had a, let's just say, a bad upbringing. He was born from the goddess Gaia, or should I say, Titan. As they say this. What makes the difference? A Titan and a god is basically the same, right? As the priest says this. No. In fact, they're completely different. One, for example, Gaia is more of a Titan, and in this case, she's the mother of all Titans, the actual creator of them. As they were shocked, as he says this. In fact, the reason why she created Typhon is to destroy her annoying little, well, grandson. His name was Zeus. As one of them said this. Wait. I thought Zeus was a good person in actual legend. As he says this. Are you sure about that? As he shows shows different examples of his legend, like for example, the legend of Ao or Eo or something like that. I can't remember. Then there's the legend of wait for a second. The legend of Heracles. Then there's the legend of Perseus. Then there's several legends about him, the usual stuff like girls, as in rhymes with grape. Take a bet. Take a guess what that means. So, after telling them that, they were instantly shocked, hearing the actual legend of Zeus. As he says this, that is why he was created. I mean, this is why Typhon was created, to punish Zeus for his arrogance. But he fell in love, as one of them said this. Fell in love with who? I meant who? Wait for a second. Fell in love with who? As the priest says this. Well, in legend, he fell in love with the sister of the Fabian sisters. Specifically, the sister of Medusa. As they were shocked as they see this. Wait, Medusa had sisters? I thought she was just like, just one monster, a specific type. As he says this. Well, it wasn't the case. She had two sisters, but one of them is prominent. Being Echidna, she was the mother of all monsters. The reason why is because she fell in love with Izuku, also known as Typhon. After marrying and falling in love, and she gave birth to several monsters that kill innocent people, specifically priests that worship Zeus and many other Greek gods. After that, you know what happened? Zeus killed her in cold blood, causing Typhon to destroy everything in his in his path, destroying anything that he deems unworthy of his brand new world, a world fit for his ruling. But he was shortly defeated by the Greek gods, as he was trapped in the tomb, a tomb made of ambrosia, a special metal that the gods used as either drinks or as weaponry. As everybody heard that, well, Nezu said this. Wait. Ambrosia? Can you tell me about it more? As he says this. Very well. Apparently, the Ambrosia tomb was made, or at least created, before it was destroyed, by, let's just say, Hephaestus, a goddess Mithri, as they say this. So, if he was used, or at least created that thing, well, what happened to it? As they say this. The priest, specifically. I don't know. After this, well, or specifically back then, when the whole, volcano erupted and caused this creature to appear, I think it might have been Typhon, or should I say Izuku, as they thought of it. As remembered that when Izuku took that form, it looked exactly like that creature, that monster that appeared from the mountain. As they see this, then what is he doing here? Why does he want, well, the priest just says this. Maybe getting revenge on Zeus and many of the other Greek gods. But it also seems that there's no more Greek gods. As they say this. What? As he basically explains, during the time when Typhon was just trapped in that Ambrosia tomb, they caused a war, specifically the War of the Giants and the Titans, which they were all defeated and destroyed. As after they were told of this, they say this. So, this war killed every single Greek god. As he says this. Some might have reincarnated, like for example Zeus or somebody else, but we don't know yet. We're currently trying to find them, and the only two that we got are Hades and Persephone. Apparently they're now sister and brother, but they have a specific type of relationship. Either way, they seem to be, well, reincarnating. And if Zeus reincarnates, well, let's just say it will be Hellfest. So, It's better if you try and make Izuku act as more of a person and try to accept him than actually considering him as a monster and leaving him to die or turning him into a public enemy. Because if you do that, they'll create more chaos. And if you do, just imagine how many monsters that they can create. Similar to those, whatever you call them, the Nomus or whatever. As they were shocked, as Aizawa just says this. So, it's better if we just make Izuku at least, happy and not try to become an evil person, as the priest says this. Exactly. So, can I leave now? I'm currently busy. I need to manage Hades and Persephone right now. As they say this, you can leave. So, while the priest was leaving, well, they heard from the news that something happened. Apparently, two people have been fighting. Specifically, two overpowered quirk users. Specifically, a man that considers himself as Zeus, which after they were heard of that, well, let's just say they were instantly concerned. Apparently, he tried to, a woman. Take a guess what it means. So, after they were told of this, they started moving out as they see the villain. As the man says this, I am Zeus, the god of all gods, and you dare to stand before me, mortals. It makes you look pathetic. As he starts creating electricity and starts throwing them at all of the heroes. As he says this, oh, more women. Now, anyway, I'm sorry, but I couldn't, well, have the fun pleasuring all of you, but I'm currently quite busy, so see ya. As he creates electricity and makes him fly, causing him to run away. So, after the heroes saw him, they instantly started getting concerned. So, after they left after this man by the name of Zeus basically escaped, they basically go to Izuku. Izuku is still in a comatose, catatonic state. Still tired and still not awake. As a person arrives, Ochako looks over and sees somebody. This man had this almost dead stare. He wears like a black hoodie as he wields a large scythe. As he says this, may I sit here? As she says this, who are you? As he says this, I am Thanatos, the god of peaceful death. I do not wish to harm Izuku, or should I say Typhon. I'm here with a proposition. May I just sit here and just wait for his arrival? As she says this, okay. So, this man by the name of, well, wait for a second again. Thanatos sits down with Ochako, as Thanatos says this. Now, kid, may I ask, who are you? As she says this. Oh, I'm, well, Ochako, Izuku's adopted younger sister. As he says this. So, you're the adopted sister of Typhon. Nice to meet you then. I am Thanatos, god of peaceful death. But don't worry, I won't kill you. Besides, you're not ready to die. Just yet. As she says this, you sound a bit, creepy and ominous. As he says this, why, I'm sorry. For being a god of death itself, I was considered as a monster, just like Typhon. As she looks towards Izuku, as she says this, so, Izuku is the father of all monsters. That would explain his weird powers, as he says this. Yes, after all, he was a son of Gaia. Gaia being the true and most powerful goddess, or should I say Titan, a god of gods specifically, as she says this. A god of gods, as he says this. Yes, after he was created for nothing more than to destroy Zeus, a god that was so arrogant and believed that he can do whatever he wants just because he defeated his own father, Kronos. As she says this. So, Izuku, for being a father of all monsters, he's actually the good guy? As he says this. Correct. In modern society now, they consider monsters as just monsters, never to be released, never to be considered as human, nothing more than monsters, and deserve death. As she says this. Whoa, why do you seem mad? As he says this. Well, after I was reincarnated into this body, I was bullied. Bullied by several people, specifically girls, because I was a boy. Without a quirk, or whatever this power, this modern day ability of yours. I was considered a freak, a disgrace. But when I saw Typhon, not reincarnated, but instead transformed into this kid, it gave me hope and decided to make me, or should I say, make myself a hero to act alongside him. As she says this. So, you want to become a hero? As he says this. Right. I want to show everybody that even the worst of monsters can change. Like him. Even though he made mistakes in his past life. He will make new ones. But he will learn from them and try to become a greater person. As she says this. Wow, you're so wise. As he says this. Anyway, so, how many days have we been, sleeping? As she says this. Well, maybe about like 5 days? I can't remember. It's been a long time. As he says this. Very well. So, I'm guessing my sister is also here. As she says this. Wait, sister? As he says this. Yes, my sister, Nemesis, the goddess of revenge and justice. I don't know where she is, but she definitely seems to be near us. As the door opens wide, as they see a woman right beside. Wait for a second. All Might. As All Might says this. So, nice to meet you. Who's that person over there with the big scythe? As she says this. Don't worry, he's not a bad guy. Guys be Typhon? Not Typhon, I meant, Thanatos. As the girl says this. Brother? As he says this. Nemesis, it's been a long time. What happened to you? As she says this. Well, got into a scuffle. So, we're finally back again, together, as he says this. Yes. So, what happened to you during in your lifetime in this brand new world? As she says this. Well, I'm currently one of the top students at a certain hero school, but don't worry, I decided to drop out. As he says this. In typical fashion. As she says this. What do you mean by that? As, well, All Might says this. Either way, how's Izuku or, um, Typhon? As he says this. Well, he's currently still sleeping, but I think we have an idea to summon out a certain person. Or should I say, a certain powerful person. As he says this, being All Might. I meant she, because, she's a girl in this universe. Then, who is he? As he says this. Asclepius. A person that was a great practitioner in medicine. In fact, he created a special medicine that will actually revive the dead. But after Hades was told of this, Hades killed him for that sin. So, after he was killed because of that, well, let's just say Hades remorsed and felt bad for him. So he decided to turn him into a god of medicine. So, we want to summon him, but we're currently trying to find a perfect vessel for him. So, how about you, All Might? Do you have any vessels, or at least anything to put Asclepius in? As he says this. Don't know. Like, seriously. Like, anything that we try to do, like, it's still amazing that gods are actually real, like, seriously. As he says this. Either way, we need to try and find a way to bring Asclepius. He's our only hope to bring Izuku back, or should I say Typhon. As Nemesis says this. How about you, girl? How about you try and become a vessel? As she says this. Sorry, but I can't. Besides, can it hurt? As Ochako retorts. As, well, Nemesis says this. Oh, don't worry. Besides, it would just be like another voice in your head, I guess. And also, you'll probably able to use his abilities. As she says this. Wait, really? So it's basically like a second quirk. As All Might says this. We could try. As wait for a second, Thanatos says this. Yes, we could try, but we need the ingredients. As they say this. Ingredients. As he says this. Yes, summoning a god is basically trying to summon, from a gotcha game. A certain one, in fact. Take a guess what. I'll give you a hint for this gotcha game. It uses a special type of crystal for, gotcha, basically. It also has historical figures and mythical creatures as its, main, summoning mechanic. Where they summon, historical, basically, historical, mythical, and, literary figures, basically. Anyway, so, after they were told to get these ingredients, All Might and Nemesis, now transformed into this human body, they basically started leaving. So, Thanatos starts getting ready for the ritual, getting his own blood and spilling it onto the floor. As Ochako said this. Whoa. Is that actually, good? As he says this. I am a god of death itself. And don't worry, it won't hurt. After all, I feel no pain. As she says this. Yeesh, what an edgelord. As he says that. He says this. What did you say? As she says this. Oh, nothing. Anyway, so, after the ritual was done, Typhon says this. Not Typhon, I meant Thanatos. So, Ochako Uraka, I want you to wear this mask. It will help you combine your soul with Asclepius. As she says this. Right. So, after a while of waiting, this will be the end of the episode. Sorry, but I don't have any time for that, so yeah, we're just going to make the second episode the part where, well, Asclepius slash Ochako are going to be fused together. So, yeah. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye!